La, 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 la. Where to start? Where to start with this massive, massive failure with Portugal? I know that I've been talking about Portugal a lot. It's really because what was seen on paper and what I expected and what a lot of people expected didn't come to fruition. Now, a lot of people will have their own theories and expectations and reasons as to why this was such a disappointing tournament for this team. I have mine. And, in the end of the day, when you can list out whichever, right? You can list out Ronaldo was bad. You can list out Bruno Fernandes was absolutely unrecognizable. Vitinha was not showing his best level. I thought Neves was fine. The front line, the wingers, all that stuff, right? You can blame pretty much anybody. But when you have so many players in one team, that kind of seems like they should all fit well together, and they don't. Who are you supposed to look at? I'm sorry. There's only one guy. Only one guy. I've been warning everybody since the beginning. I thought Portugal would go to the final or something like that. Save one element, one factor, one thing that can possibly screw them over, and it's him. It's him. I'm sorry. It's Roberto Martinez. He has blood on his hands. I have so many words for this guy that I'm not going to put into a video, but this guy is just an absolute fraud. This is two generations of generations of nations that he's completely thrown down the trash, thrown in the bin. How can you explain to me that you have a midfield with Neves, with Vitinha, with Fernandes, and you can't make them work together? You can't make them click. You can't make them pass within each other than when they're in this area, this area, this area. I'm sorry, I'm going to repeat myself with everything that I said because I think nothing has changed in this team. And why has nothing changed? Because they have a manager who is unable to look at his team and make any changes because we're qualified. We did a decent job. We were able to keep the ball against teams that, weren't that good. Uzbekistan, congratulations. Did you not see that game against Colombia? Did you not see how much you struggled against an aging Croatia side? And let's talk about those changes, right? Oh my God, where to start, guys? Where to start? I feel like I'm going to repeat myself, but I know, and I know a lot of people are going to blame these three guys for the performance. I'm not saying they were good, right? I'm individually speaking, if you look at an individually speaking, if you look at each of them, apart from maybe Nuno Mendes, they've all been crap, right? They've all been absolutely awful. But let's look at, the qualities of each of these players, right? Vitinha is the guy great at receiving the ball and orienting the play deep within the midfield and really good at getting the ball back too. This guy guarantees you ball possession, right? He guarantees you ball possession. You have him, João Neves, who is a little bit of everything, right? He can create a pass from deep. He's the guy who's gonna do all the hard work, all the dirty work, who can also put in a header, has an insane right foot as well. He can pretty much do everything. But in this Portugal side, we're expecting him to do a lot of the dirty work, a little bit like he is for PSG, right? Then you have Bruno Fernandes, who, when he gets the ball in an area, can always put a ball into a dangerous area around here, which is usually very accurate, and then somebody is there to attack it. Usually um with United, it was Sesko, who was this big, tall, physical dude who could head it in, or you had a Acuna, or you had somebody there, right? But I'm sorry. I'm sorry. How can you look at this midfield and their performance without looking at the front three of this Portugal side? I'm not talking only about like these three for this game. I'm talking about the whole tournament, all of the options that we saw, right? We saw Neto on the left, we saw Neto on the right, we saw Joao Felix, we saw Rafael Leao. How can you expect them to find a pass if there is absolutely no runs in behind? No runs in behind. I'm going to repeat myself again because I feel like nobody is seeing what I'm seeing. No, none of these players, I've never seen them once try to run in behind. I can't believe that Portugal got two offsides in this game. Two offsides, how exactly? Wouldn't an offside require somebody to make a run in behind? Maybe poorly timed? I'm sorry. Ronaldo is your striker, right? And we're gonna go over everything. We're gonna give Ronaldo his dues and everything at the end of this video, I promise, right? But this version of Ronaldo can't run in behind. He can't I'm sorry, today. For all the Ronaldo fans who are gonna try and defend his performance today, look back at every single clip, every single action of the ball that he had. All it was is I get the ball maybe here, maybe here, maybe here on a counter. He slow so here around here, he'll be back to goal, and because he doesn't have the quick think he doesn't have the quick thinking that he used to. He doesn't have the physical ability to just push the ball away and beat his defender and turn and beat his defender. His touch of the ball is so slow and I'm not gonna lie, I think even I could have defended against that Ronaldo. Kubarsi had his easiest game of his life. Easiest game of his life. Laporte, same thing. It's completely non-threatening to you as a center back if all three of your players, when you're on a counter, are only asking for the ball this way, this way, this way. And this includes Leao because Leao never makes a run behind. Leao is always looking for the ball at his feet on the side and then trying to take on his man one on one, right? How can you explain to me that the only guy making a run in behind is Nuno Mendes? How can you explain to me that the only tactic going forward for this team was let Nuno Mendes be Nuno Mendes? And this guy was handling Yamal at the same time today. And of course he came off of a stretcher. He was playing for three people, Nuno Mendes. Three people. And this was him the entire tournament as a left back. How embarrassing is that? Technically speaking, how embarrassing is it for Roberto Martinez to rely on your left back to create anything? It's embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. You want to criticize Vitinha, Fernandez, Neves, all these players. Feel free. Feel free. Call them system players. But in their system, Vitinha, Neves, they have guys at PSG who run in behind constantly. Varskelia runs in behind constantly. Runs in behind constantly, although he can always come back in and get the ball as well. Dembele, fast as fuck, will run in behind. Barcola. Barcola is the specialist at running in behind. Why are these guys masters of the midfield when they play for PSG? Because they know that the teams who play against them know that if they come up too much, if they come up too much as Spain did in this game, as much as Barcelona did against PSG, as soon as they do that, as soon as one of the wingers, one of the strikers runs forward, they'll find a pass. They'll find a pass because there'll be plenty of space to find them in. But most importantly, there's a guy to receive the ball. Ronaldo was only in the box the few times that Portugal were able to get up the field. But it's hard to get up the field when Ronaldo, Joao Felix, Neto, they're all attracting the defense to go forward. There's so less space to work with within the midfield because seeing as the line goes forward and the defensive line of Spain goes forward and they're not being threatened in behind, they can keep pushing and pushing and pushing. and therefore the midfield goes higher. They're able to press them no problem. And they have no space to do anything. Fernandez today, I he was probably the worst out of the three, right? I actually think Vitinha is going to get a lot of stick for this game. I thought he did as well as he could because he was receiving the ball. You could see the intent to go forward to try and find something, but every time he made a pass that was forward that broke the line, it was only for somebody who was looking for the ball at his feet. And that is especially true for Cristiano. I'm sorry. I hate to say it. I hate to say it, but he had no business being in this team. But it's not just him. I'm gonna stop everybody right there. He's not the only problem. He's not gonna make a run in behind. He's not. I mean, he's supposed to be making runs in behind. He's like the fast guy in this team, right? Isn't he? He got the ball once. Vitinha served him once, and he finally got to go on a one-on-one, and he completely scuffed it. He's off. He's awful. This guy, Pedro Neto, gets the ball, runs with it, and just head on the ball, never looks up. Ever, ever. This is it's such a shame. This front line is a miss from Roberto Martinez. I'm sorry. If you look at the midfield, you have to look at the front line. Or you look at none of them. I'm sorry, but the front line, how do you expect the midfielders to find any of these players with a through ball if they're not going to make any kind of call? The only reason why Joao Felix was in this game was to help Nuno Mendes with Yamal. It worked. You know, he was good at helping out. He was good at keeping the ball, but Spain press, guys. Spain is a team that presses. If you want to hurt them, you got to send out a long ball. You got to send out a ball through behind the players. Cucurella and Pedro Porro are players that go forward extremely, right? The only guys that were here to defend counters were Rodri, Kubarsi, and Laporte. That was it. That was it. But they had no threat. They had nothing to do in this game. They had nothing to do in this game. I'm sorry. This was awful, and this is all. I'm sorry, this is all him. This is all him. How do you not put a single guy that can run in behind in this team against Spain? Against Spain, who leaves you how many yards in behind? Kubarsi living life with the high line with that's been figured out with Barcelona must be so happy to have played against this team. To have played against this version of Ronaldo who can't possibly make a run in behind. And I can't blame him for it. It's not, he's 41, guys. He's 41. I'm not going to keep repeating myself, but this guy will not make a run in behind. It's impossible. He's 41. And then to top it off, the slow, the way he touches the ball in this game, it's just slow. There's a little bit of a fancy skill that is kind of useless, and he always passed it back every time. And every time they had a ball, so whenever Ronaldo received the ball, like over here, right? The players next to him started making runs behind Ronaldo, right? But they stopped immediately because as soon as he passed it back, he went back forward and they had to help with the build-up. Tactically speaking, this is atrocious. Atrocious. There was no offensive coherence whatsoever. Please find me a clip. You guys, for those who will defend Ronaldo hysterically, find me a clip of Bruno Fernandes when he had the ball. Find me a clip of at any moment any players making a run in the box or in behind. Find me a clip. I dare you. I dare you. There won't be a single one because it's the same problem against Croatia. It's the same thing every time. The only way that these guys were going to be able to do anything was get a set piece and cross it in. And Ronaldo can, find a header on occasion, but not as well as Gonzalo Ramos in his prime. And Gonzalo Ramos has a lot of the flaws that this current Ronaldo has, right? Pretty slow in build up, not really great with the ball at his feet. Can be a little, hazardous sometimes, but he's capable of great stuff with his feet. And more importantly, Ramos has the pace and the physique to run in behind. That's the difference. That's the difference. And there's nothing that Ronaldo brings to this team that Ramos can't. Apart from the leadership and the absorption of the pressure and things like that. But let's be honest, guys. Let's be honest. This is three tournaments in a row where Ronaldo is a weight in this team in terms of tactical, not in terms. I don't think that we need to go as far as saying that he needs to be off this team or that he needs to be off the 11 necessarily, although I would hear the arguments for those who do believe that. But the leadership that he brings to this team, I thought he was pretty exemplary in his attitude throughout this entire World Cup, and I will give him credit for that. Um, I feel bad for him, absolutely, because he was working for like five people. Diogo Costa, fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Thank God that Roberto Martinez can really thank you for having you because with a midfield like João Neves, Vitinha, and Bruno Fernandes, the fact that they didn't know how to they didn't know what to do with the ball and how to get up the field, that speaks only for the manager. I'm sorry. People will say, "Oh yeah, Vitinha, João Neves, they're system players." Guys, midfielders make your system, right? If you look at PSG, Vitinha is the system. Vitinha is the system. It's just that it was built around him correctly. It was built around him correctly. He has Hakimi. He has Hakimi. He has Nuno Mendes. He has Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, Barcola, all making or Doué, all making the right movements for him. Right? They're all making the right movements for him. You have some of them that are they're always alternating. Sometimes Dembele will come in deep and get the ball while the wingers are running in. Sometimes Dembele will run in behind while some wingers come help him. Right? It's all coherent, but all of the movements of the attackers, they're all the same. As soon as Vitinha has the ball, they're standing there in front of their defender. They're able to get the ball at their feet, but once they get it, they get pressed, they lose it. And that is especially the case for Ronaldo in this game and in this tournament, but not just him. Neto, oh my God. I think Neto's a whole different issue, right? Because he's supposed to have the pace in behind. He's supposed to be able to run behind. It's just that he's just not a good enough of a football player to be in this team. He when you play for a club like Chelsea and you play for a team like Portugal, who are filled with really clever, really smart players, you have to be able to raise your head and look at the game. When he has the ball, that's it. That's it. I'm sorry. It's embarrassing, but it's all him. I'm sorry. There's nobody else that I consider blaming in this team in this team. It's him. It's only him. It's the second time now. This is the picture. I encourage you guys to look at the Belgium that he managed, and you'll see all the similarities within this team and this Portugal team. With all the talent that they had, this was the prime generation of Belgium. They had the best players they ever had in their history. And he was making them play little tiny little passes like nothing, take no risks, nothing, nobody runs in behind. It's embarrassing. This guy is a fraud. I'm sorry, he's embarrassing. And I feel bad, I feel bad for Portugal. I feel bad for all these PSG players that I love. I most importantly feel bad for Ronaldo that his last hurrah was with the worst coach that he ever had. It's a shame. I do ultimately think that if you put Ronaldo with wingers that will run in behind, he can be useful because he'll still be able to like receive the ball, move it to Fernandez, and then Fernandez can find somebody who will run behind, and then Ronaldo will then eventually arrive in the box to receive a cross. But there were no crosses to give. Like it's not like Portugal were ever up the field to a point where they could cross. It was never an option because they were never in those zones ever, ever. And Spain were bang average today. I'm sorry. The only good Spain player that I saw today was Rodri. The others, I'm sorry, they were all I mean, Laporte and Kubarsi had nothing to do. Did you ever see these guys run once? Never. He had nothing to do. I thought Baena was pretty decent though. Pedri was not at his best today. Not a picture performance of Pedri, as is the case for Vitinha. Yamal was well handled by the best left back in the world, who was the only good Portuguese player apart from Diogo Costa in this game. Bruno Fernandes. I honestly feel bad for Bruno Fernandes. Like having a coach who can't play with a guy like that is just, it's a waste. It's a waste. The whole tournament, it's not a coincidence, guys. It's not a coincidence that for Portugal, he can't find his form, whereas for Man United, he could. It's not a coincidence that we don't see the best of Vitinha, although we do see his, ball winning capability and his ability to keep the ball well. He still has that, right? But and also the substitutions. Oh my God. Let's talk about the substitutions. It was a game of two bald men looking for their best tactics. But I'm sorry. Look at the substitutions. Fabian Ruiz came on. He's part of the goal. Ferran Torres came on. He assisted the goal. Marino came on. He scored the goal. Ronaldo stayed on the entire 90 minutes. Bruno Fernandes stayed on the entirety 90 minutes. And you take out Vitinha, who granted wasn't great. You put in Bernardo Silva at a time where you're still at 0-0, by the way. What does that leave you with? All right, let's do that here. Let's do that here. Let's put Vitinha out and let's put Bernardo Silva here, okay? Then let's put, I think Neves was still here. Unfortunately, Mendes had to come out injured, so he got replaced by, what was his name? Semedo. Um, and then Cancelo was still here. These guys were still here. All right. The only guy that they had to defend this area was Neves. And that was it. And he was asked to also play offensive at this point in time. Why? Because people keep underrating how important Vitinha is to get the ball back. He knows where to place himself. He's not physical, he's not fast, but he's smart enough to know where to go. And he's done that countless times for PSG. You bring out Vitinha, who is a number six plus plus, right? Who can do who as a number six does the role of two, three players. Bring on Bernardo Silva, who doesn't know how to handle that kind of Spanish press defensively, and you keep Bruno Fernandes the entire game, who was the worst out of the three, by far the worst out of the three. And Ronaldo, who is just completely unimportant in this game. It's not just that, it's him also. How did it take you so long to get Neto out and put Conceição in? Conceição, when he comes on, is a miles better than Pedro Neto, knowing that Conceição is like a third of the game time that Pedro Neto does. I can't believe that after all the three group games that Portugal had and the entrance that he had against Croatia, Conceição, I mean, I can't believe you don't make the conclusion that Conceição has to start over Pedro Neto. There is nothing that Pedro Neto does that Conceição doesn't do better. At least he can cross a ball. At least he can cross a ball. It's not like Pedro Neto can cross a ball. It all makes zero sense, right? It's all lack of coherence. It's all over the place. He can't find his form. He can't find his form. Vitinha can't find his form. None of the front three are supposed to be in this team. None of the starting front three are supposed to be in this team. He has no solution. Cancelo had no passes to find, guys. Same thing for Nuno Mendes. Mendes was doing everything by himself. He was like, you know what? I'll take the ball off. I'll run. I'll run. I'll find something. I get the ball from a corner. I'll whip it and hit the crossbar. I feel bad for Nuno Mendes. This guy, I, I feel bad for him. I feel bad for a lot of these players, honestly, but it all ultimately comes down to him. Now, this does mean, and I'm going to finish with this, that Ronaldo did not win a World Cup. Now, I think that people should, and when we use, and I think I've already said this before, but I'm going to say it again. When we debate and compare players, which you can do. I don't mind it at all. And you compare players, unless they play for a team that's already won the World Cup before, you need to look at how much they've done for their country, despite the trophies won, how far they've taken them, the inspiration that the legacy that they're leaving behind them. I think Ronaldo is the perfect case for that. When Ronaldo arrived at Portugal, Portugal had never ever competed nearly close to a group stage in the World Cup. They'd never won a trophy, and he won them the Euros by being their best player by far. This guy inspired a generation of this whole world to look up to Portugal. He inspired a generation of players like João Neves, who's a big fan of his, Vitinha, Mendes, all these guys that play for PSG, but not only, right? João Felix is a huge fan of Ronaldo. Conceição, I'm sure, is as well. He inspired a whole nation to become, thanks to Ronaldo, Portugal is going to be one of the best footballing nations in the world in the future. And I have no doubt about that, right? If they get a competent coach, they'll be up there. They will be up there. And then after Vitinha, after Bruno Fernandes, all these players, after these guys, other players will come after them because he started it all. And I want that to be what is remembered with Ronaldo. Re Portugal eventually will win a World Cup, and they will. It won't be with him in the squad, but it will be with him in there. In there. All right. PSG, as much as we love to talk about this super team that we have, the foundations, the culture, these players who are now all in love with PSG and who are finally winning for PSG because they grew up loving PSG, is because we had players like Zlatan, we had players like Neymar, we had players like, I mean, Messi didn't stay for too long. I don't think he inspired too much at PSG, unfortunately. We had Mbappe, we had all these players who who inspired young talents, young generations by their football to want to play for PSG and win for PSG, win for that club. And people, Portuguese players will want to win for that nation now because this nation, thanks to Ronaldo, deserves a World Cup, deserves Euros, deserves those trophies, wins two nations leagues, right? This could have never ever happened without Cristiano Ronaldo. So, yes, Messi won a World Cup, but I am still ready to argue that Messi impacted, Argentina, if you're trying to quantify that, just as much as Ronaldo did, because Ronaldo rose this country to the highest levels in a way that nobody else ever could have. And this is why this guy will forever have my respect as a football fan. I will always tell my kids about that, the prime version of Ronaldo, the competitor, the discipline, everything that he represents. His rivalry with Lionel Messi for the longest time, his his abnegation, everything that he brought to this game, to the to you know, to the game of football will forever be remembered because he graced the field with his boots, with his leaps that were dignifiable of a what's the word I'm looking for? Of a plane, Air Cristiano. We all know that we've seen him do some freakish things in his career. He's unique. There will never ever be another Cristiano Ronaldo, ever, ever. He was a beautiful, talented winger at the beginning of his career, a force to be reckoned with at his prime when he was alternating in between winger and striker. The deadliest player to ever have in the box. And I will always, always, forever, ever, ever love Ronaldo and everything that he has brought to this game and everything everybody that he's inspired. The reason why this game has grown as much as it did is because he's the biggest star that this sport has ever seen. Ever, ever. Massive respect. I can't say enough good things about this guy. And I wish him all the best. I hope that he reaches 1,000 goals in his career. That would be fitting to the personality and to what he did for this game. But even if he doesn't, even if, and I'll tell you this right now, the fact that he didn't win a World Cup doesn't change a thing about his legacy, about who he is, and what he did for this sport. He will forever be remembered as one of the greatest players to ever, ever, ever touch the field. And in his own style, by far the best that we have ever seen. The best athlete this sport has ever seen. Congratulations, sir. I feel bad for the way you exited this tournament, but you won't feel bad for yourself. You have way too much pride, way too much self-respect for that. And I want people to not feel I don't want people to feel bad for him because his story doesn't change. His story doesn't change. It's the same. He is a hero of this sport. And no matter what had happened, it would have been a beautiful script, a beautiful end to his story if he had won the World Cup. But it doesn't define him. It doesn't define him. And I hope people will remember that when it comes to debates, when you compare international careers, what matters is where you brought your national team compared to when you got it. That's what matters. If Holland doesn't win the World Cup with Norway, that doesn't take anything away from him. He's the guy who brought them and who gave them their best ever tournament by far, right? He qualified them into the World Cup and then he's bringing them to heights that they never would have hoped they reached. And I think people tend to forget that before Ronaldo, Portugal was Norway before Holland. It's that simple. They had a few legends in there, but none of them were able to carry Portugal in big tournaments like this guy. And that will be my final words on it. Commiserations, but congratulations, Ronaldo, to the international career that you've had, and to everything that you've done for this sport. You will always have my eternal respect. Peace.